I look back at my 20s, I can't help but think about all the lessons I had to learn the hard way. And I don't say that with regret. I say it with a kind of humility because life has a way of teaching you what you didn't know you didn't know. If I could sit down with the younger version of me, that version that thought he had time to burn, that version that thought everything had to happen fast, that version that thought mistakes wouldn't leave marks, I'd tell him a few things that would change how he walked into every room, how he treated people, and how he treated himself. And I want to share them with you because maybe you're in that stage right now. Maybe you're in your 20s and you're trying to figure out if you're behind, if you're ahead, or if you're just lost in the crowd. Or maybe you've already moved past that stage, but you're still carrying some of the baggage you picked up there. Either way, these lessons matter because the 20s are not just a decade you pass through. They're the foundation of who you're going to become. The first thing I wish I knew is that speed doesn't equal progress. In my 20s, I thought life was a race. I thought if I wasn't sprinting, I was losing. Everyone around me seemed to be moving faster, getting jobs, getting promotions, getting engaged, buying cars, buying homes, posting pictures, posting vacations, and I thought that if I wasn't keeping up, I was falling behind. That pressure makes you chase things that don't even belong to you. You start living someone else's timeline. And when you do that, you wake up one day and realize you've been running full speed in the wrong direction. Progress isn't about speed, it's about alignment. It's about making sure the steps you're taking are in the right direction for your life, not just for your social circle, not just for your family's expectations, and not just for what looks good on paper. If I could go back, I'd tell myself to slow down, to measure life not in milestones that impress people, but in decisions that bring peace. The second thing I wish I knew is that confidence is not built on applause. It's built on promises kept to yourself. I spent so much time trying to earn validation from people, waiting for someone to tell me I was good enough, smart enough, talented enough. And the problem is, no matter how many compliments you get, no matter how much approval you collect, it never fills the gap if you're not keeping your own word to yourself. If you tell yourself you're going to do something and then you don't, you chip away at your confidence. If you keep breaking promises to yourself, you become a stranger to yourself. Real confidence isn't loud, it's quiet. It's the kind that shows up when you know you can trust yourself. If I could go back, I'd tell myself to start small. Make one promise to yourself and keep it. Wake up at the time you said you would. Finish the project you said you would. Work out the number of days you said you would. Confidence grows not because people clap for you, but because you learn you can count on you. Another thing I wish I knew is that failure is not a stop sign, it's a street sign. In my 20s, failure felt permanent. Every time something didn't work out, I thought it meant I wasn't capable, I wasn't cut out for it, or I wasn't enough. What I didn't understand is that failure isn't telling you, stop. It's telling you, turn. It's redirecting you, reshaping you, sometimes protecting you from what you thought you wanted. Every failure I've had pointed me towards something I couldn't see at the time. And if I could talk to my younger self, I'd tell him, stop treating every closed door like the end of the world. It's not the end, it's a turn. Failure is feedback. The only permanent failure is quitting. Everything else is just a reroute. And then there's relationships. I wish I knew how much people shape your life. Who you spend time with in your 20s is not just about fun and company. It's about direction. Show me your circle and I'll show you your trajectory. Back then, I didn't take this seriously. I let proximity decide my relationships. If they were around, I was with them. If they called, I picked up. If they invited me, I went. I didn't stop to ask, does this person pull me forward or pull me backward? Do they bring me closer to who I want to be or keep me stuck where I am? In your 20s, you need to choose your circle with intention because your circle is shaping your character even when you don't realize it. If I could go back, I'd say, don't just let people take space in your life because they're there. Guard your environment like your future depends on it because it does. Another lesson I wish I knew is that comparison is poison. Social media makes this worse because in your 20s, you're constantly scrolling through curated highlight reels of other people's lives. And you forget that people don't post their failures, their doubts, their insecurities. They post the polished version, and then you measure your behind the scenes against their edited front stage. It's not fair, but you do it anyway, and it steals your joy. It blinds you to your own progress. It makes you miss the beauty of your own path. If I could go back, I'd tell myself to stop comparing chapters, because everyone is writing a different book. Some people's story takes longer to unfold. Some people's story takes a different route. You don't lose by moving at your own pace. You lose by trying to copy someone else's. I also wish I knew that asking for help doesn't make you weak. In my 20s, I thought independence meant never needing anyone. I thought strength meant carrying everything alone. But that mindset makes you tired, bitter, and isolated. The truth is, nobody succeeds alone. The strongest people I know are not the ones who never ask for help. They're the ones who know when to lean on others, when to learn from others, and when to admit they don't have it all figured out. Asking for help doesn't make you less, it makes you human. It connects you. It grows you. If I could go back, I'd tell myself, stop trying to prove you can do it all. Nobody's keeping score. Lean on people. Learn from them. Life gets lighter when you stop carrying it alone. And one more thing, I wish I knew money matters, but not the way you think. In my 20s, I thought money was just about spending. If I had it, I spent it. If I didn't, I worried about it. What I didn't realize was that money is a tool, and the earlier you learn how to use it, the more freedom you give yourself later. Every dollar you save in your 20s isn't just money, it's buying back time in your 30s and 40s. I wish I knew that it wasn't about having a lot. It was about being intentional with the little I had. Because financial freedom isn't built in big leaps, it's built in small, consistent decisions. If I could go back, I'd tell myself to learn the basics, start saving something, anything, and understand that discipline with money is not about restriction. It's about creating choices for your future self. The last thing I'd tell myself is this: you don't have to have it all figured out. In your 20s, there's this crushing pressure that you need to know your career path, your relationship status, your 5-year plan, your passions, your purpose, your place in the world. And when you don't, it feels like you're behind. But here's what I know now: nobody has it all figured out in their 20s. Nobody. And the ones who look like they do, they're just figuring it out as they go, same as you. Life isn't about having the perfect map. It's about learning how to walk through uncertainty without losing yourself. If I could go back, I'd tell myself to stop panicking about not knowing. Uncertainty isn't failure. It's the space where growth happens. Trust that clarity comes from action, not overthinking. So if you're in your 20s right now, I want you to hear me. You're not late. You're not lost. You're not behind. You're building. You're shaping. You're learning. You're not supposed to know it all. You're supposed to take the next step with what you know now. And as you do, remember these lessons. Slow down, trust yourself, let failure redirect you, choose your people carefully, stop comparing, ask for help, respect your money, and don't panic about the unknown. If you do, your 20s won't just be a decade you survived. They'll be a decade that built the best version of you. If I could take everything I know now and hand it back to myself in my 20s, I wouldn't give myself a blueprint of exactly what to do, because that's not how life works. But I would give myself reminders. I would give myself perspective. I would give myself truths that would have lifted so much weight off my shoulders. Because here's what nobody tells you in your 20s. It's supposed to feel messy. It's supposed to feel uncertain, and it's supposed to stretch you. You're not failing because you don't know everything yet. You're growing. And growth doesn't look like a straight line. It looks like stumbling, like starting over, like figuring out piece by piece who you are and who you want to become. One of the biggest things I wish I knew is that saying yes to everything is not the way to live. In my 20s, I thought opportunities were rare, and that if I said no, I would miss my only chance. So I said yes to things that didn't align with me. Yes to jobs that drained me. Yes to relationships that weren't healthy. Yes to obligations that weren't mine to carry. And every yes that wasn't right cost me time, energy, and joy. I wish I knew that no is not rejection. No is direction. Every time you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you are saying yes to something better. You're creating space for what actually belongs in your life. And learning to say no with confidence is one of the most powerful skills you can ever build. Another lesson I wish I knew is that identity is not a fixed label. In my 20s, I thought I had to figure out exactly who I was, what I was meant to do, and then lock myself into that identity forever. And so when I changed my mind, when I grew, when I realized something wasn't right anymore, I felt like a fraud. What I didn't understand is that you are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to outgrow jobs, relationships, dreams, even versions of yourself. Growth is not betrayal. Growth is proof that you're alive, that you're learning, that you're becoming. I wish I knew that I didn't need to cling so tightly to old versions of me. Because the people who really matter in your life will grow with you, not hold you hostage to who you used to be. I also wish I knew that healing takes time and ignoring pain doesn't make it go away. In my 20s, I thought the best way to deal with disappointment, heartbreak, or loss was to push through, to stay busy, to distract myself. But what happens when you don't deal with pain is that it buries itself deeper and it shows up in ways you don't expect. It shows up in how you treat people, in how you react, in how you see yourself. I wish I knew that it was okay to slow down, to grieve, to admit when something hurt. That healing is not weakness, it's courage. That therapy, conversations, and vulnerability aren't signs that you're broken, they're signs that you're human. And humans don't heal by hiding, they heal by facing the wound. I wish I knew how powerful small habits were. In my 20s, I chased big breakthroughs. I thought success came from giant leaps, overnight changes, life-altering moments. But the truth is, the things that change your life are small, boring, consistent habits repeated over time. Reading 10 minutes a day, saving a little money consistently, moving your body, speaking kindly to yourself. These are not glamorous. Nobody claps when you do them. But if you stack them day after day, year after year, they change everything. I wish I had spent less energy searching for dramatic transformations and more energy building steady disciplines, because little by little becomes a lot. And in your 20s, you have time on your side. The earlier you start small, the bigger the return later. Another truth I wish I knew is that other people's opinions are not a compass. I let opinions shape so many of my decisions in my 20s. I wanted people to like me, to approve of me, to think I was doing well. And so I made choices that weren't really mine. I dressed for them, worked for them, lived for them. What I didn't realize was that no matter what you do, someone will disapprove, someone will criticize, someone will misunderstand you. And if you live your life trying to avoid that, you'll never truly live at all. I wish I knew that peace doesn't come from pleasing everyone. It comes from alignment. It comes from knowing that you're walking in a way that's true to your values, your purpose, your voice. And yes, some people won't get it, but that's okay. Their confusion doesn't mean you're lost. Something else I didn't know in my 20s is that time is more valuable than money. Money can be made back. Time cannot. I wasted so much time trying to chase paychecks, promotions, and purchases, thinking that once I had enough, I'd finally feel secure. What I didn't see is that in the process, I was spending my most valuable resource, my time. Time with people I loved. Time doing things that brought me joy. Time investing in myself. I wish I knew then that money is important, but it's not everything. Because when you trade too much of your time for money, you end up poor in the things that matter most. I also wish I knew that comparison with older versions of myself is just as dangerous as comparison with other people. Sometimes we think back and say, I should have been further by now. I should have accomplished more. I should have done this or that differently. And all that does is weigh you down with regret. Regret doesn't move you forward. Reflection does. There's a difference. Regret says, look what you wasted. Reflection says, look what you learned. I wish I knew how to turn regret into reflection sooner, because every mistake you've made can become wisdom if you're willing to see it as a lesson instead of a sentence. Another powerful lesson: relationships don't fail because people are bad. They fail because people stop growing together. I wish I knew this in my 20s. I thought when friendships ended, when relationships ended, it meant I was broken or the other person was broken. But sometimes it's not about brokenness, it's about growth. People grow at different speeds, in different directions, and sometimes they can't grow side by side forever. That doesn't make it a failure, it makes it part of life. I wish I knew that letting go with grace was just as important as holding on with commitment. Not Every person is meant to stay, but every person can teach you something if you're willing to look. And maybe one of the most freeing lessons I wish I knew is that perfection is a myth. In my 20s, I wasted so much time trying to get it right, trying to never make mistakes, trying to be flawless. And that pressure was suffocating because perfection isn't possible and chasing it keeps you stuck. What actually matters is progress, taking steps, learning as you go, messing up and adjusting. That's where growth happens. I wish I knew earlier that done is better than perfect, because perfect never arrives. If I could tell my younger self anything about perfection, it would be this: stop trying to be flawless and start trying to be real. Finally, I wish I knew how quickly time passes. When you're in your 20s, 10 years feels like forever. You think you have endless time to figure it out, to change, to become who you want to be. And then one day you look back and realize a decade has passed. And the choices you made daily shaped the person you became. I wish I had treated time like the treasure it is. I wish I had been more intentional, not in a pressured way, but in a grateful way. Because the truth is, the 20s go fast, and what you do with them matters more than you think. So if you're listening right now, and you're in that stage of life, I want you to hear this. You don't have to have it all together. You don't have to move at anyone else's pace. You don't have to carry everything alone. You don't have to compare your journey to theirs. You don't have to be perfect. What you do have to do is keep showing up, keep learning, keep growing, keep building habits that serve you, and keep trusting that life has a way of shaping you in ways you can't see yet. One day, you will look back at this season with gratitude, not because it was easy, but because it made you. And that is what I wish I knew in my 20s.